I typically pride myself in bringing you factual information about the game, be it their simplest mechanisms that are still the most poorly understood, or the most complex and sophisticated mechanism for what is an incredible deep game, that being Elite Dangerous. Now, with the recent in-game developments and the story of Territory, or Terry Tora, or whatever her name is, because like it's actually like a weird an amalgamation of like alliteration of words, there's been an enormous amount of speculation, and there's a few things that we know for a fact, and there's lots of things that we candidly don't know. And I wish I could bring you the definite factual resolution to this whole affair, but I don't have it. And in the spirit of, for once, having a little bit of fun, I will instead give you my theory as to what actually is the ultimate end result of this whole ordeal and wild goose chase that we've been on for the past week and a half. I will probably be wrong, so bear that in mind. This is not hard science. This is one part of a human reasoning process, which is the inductive thinking process, which is highly prone to mistakes, but it's also occasionally breeding a spark of deep and profound insight. Whether it's one or the other, we will find out probably in the next 24 hours, as Frontier has just announced on YouTube the release or preview release or whatever it's going to be called video for the Type11. So if you haven't subscribed to their YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that bell button, because they will be publishing on a premiere basis the video in about 23 hours from the moment of this video posting. In fact, I will actually put a link pinned in the comment below so you can easily find it. Now, back to the matter of this whole exobiologist run amok ordeal. What do we know? We know that she brought along two students, Alex and Alicia. Now, Alex is a common name, Alicia is not. And the combination of Alex and Alicia is certainly not a chance combination. Alex Ryder and Alicia Fields are the protagonists of the Dark Wheel novella that came bundled with the original Elite game. And if you want, you can actually go and read the novella for yourself, as it's available online. Their tightest association, even though canonically speaking, and there's debates as to whether the Dark Wheel novella is canon anymore or not, but even if it is still considered canon, they would probably be something in the range of 1,000 years old by game time. So there's probably some explanation or retconning involved in explaining how they lived that long. But their two names are too unique, especially used in combination, to not hint at the fact that the so-called latest students of Professor Radix are the same Alex and Alicia, Alex Ryder and Alicia Fields of the Dark Wheel novella. And if that is correct, then the involvement of the Dark Wheel in this whole affair is confirmed. Now, why the Dark Wheel has an interest with exobiology and the latest development of exobiology of the October Consortium, we don't really know. That is something that truly is even beyond the realm of wildest speculation. Some people are basically saying that Raxxla is involved, but in my experience, they're kind of the same people that say Raxxla is involved in just about anything that happens in the game. So I'm inclined to kind of discount the fact that Raxxla is directly involved in any of this, but we shall see. What is confirmed by Alex and Alicia's involvement, however, is the Dark Wheel's involvement as a faction into these affairs. To what purpose, we don't know. Furthermore, what we do know is that this whole scanning expedition of megaships is led by the October Consortium. The October Consortium is in itself led by a character in game whose name is Lexi October, who is the main person behind the rescuing from bankruptcy of Supratech, the company that in game lore manufactures the Artemis suits. Hence the interest of October Consortiums and Supratech in exobiology, as that is essentially the main purpose or the sort of intent of doing business as Supratech. What specifically the ships have been looking into is tied to a permit log system that is a short hop away from the so-called rendezvous point of the two megaships, which is permit locked. The permit is not obtainable right now in game. However, thanks to the cartographics market, we have been able to purchase the data through that system and have a peek inside that system to see what's there. And what is there is a single star system with a number of ringed gas giants, and those gas giants having a number of moons and a couple of moons. Those 2 moons of moons have some interesting green streaks that people have been looking into to see whether there's anything interesting there. And then a final planet that is also aligned with the gas giants, which is a ringed water world. Now, ringed water worlds are rare and generally considered pretty interesting because their visuals are remarkable. The most interesting aspect, however, of this whole system, as seen through the data in the cartographics purchase, is that there are no landable atmospheric planets in there. And kind of, begs the question that makes you really seriously wonder, like, why would the target of an exobiology rated expedition have no planets that lend themselves to exobiology as we know and understand it presently? Because only planets that have an atmosphere and are landable have biologics in the mechanism of elite exobiology. And that led to further speculation. Some people are saying, oh, we're going to get landable Earth-like planets. In my view, no sense, because the resources to do that in game just simply don't exist. Some people talked about the green streak planets and there being some kind of special thing in that moon of moons, and that's a decent theory. And we studied those planets and those planet compositions, looking at them for quite a while. And then it dawned on me, as we were staring onto those planets for a while, and this is where the speculative theory, which is probably wrong, but for the sake of having a bit of fun, let me state it anyway. The following dawned on me. What if we shouldn't be looking at the planets, but we should be looking instead at the rings? All the planets in the system have rings, including a very rare and remarkable water world planet with rings. And not only that, but the other thing that is going on with the game more broadly is the release of a mining ship with a unique module that is about to be announced like 24 hours from now. What if this new feature that is about to be announced actually has to do with having identified life forms in asteroids, in rings, or in belts? And that this new ship has a module that is specifically designed to do exobiology in asteroid belts and in planetary rings, either uniquely, like the Supratech suit, for instance, or with some kind of high degree of efficiency compared to other type of modules. Because we know that Frontier Development said that they wanted to do something interesting and a bit special with the new module of the mining ship, but they've never really mentioned what that special thing is. And with this whole sort of ongoing sort of mini adventure related to exobiology, if that is not the tie-in, like the implication of that would be that they essentially are running 2 parallel and separate streams, one pertaining to mining in the Type11, and one instead associated with something else, possibly the new feature that they are yet to announce in December. But it's too late to tease that, so it's too early to tease that new feature, as we're not even sort of in Halloween period, and they will probably do some kind of Halloween event before they tease the end of year feature in any meaningful way. And again, the only tie-in I can see, supported by the fact that there are no traditional exobiology planets in the target system, and all the target planets in the target system have rings, is the hypothesis that this actually has to do with doing exobiology in rings. Now, I give this hypothesis a 30 to 40% chance of being right, so it's probably wrong, but it's the best I came up with, and it's fun to speculate, like I'm sure all of you or many of you are doing, in following along with this little adventure of Territora and Professor Addix and the whole crew and the October Consortium megaship. So that's my guess. As I mentioned, it's probably wrong, but it's fun to think about. Stay tuned for the Type 11 announcement and what develops in the next few hours to see whether this is right or whether there's another explanation that maybe is even a lot more simpler and makes a lot more sense. Glory to mankind, Corona Mecca, over and out.